Welcome back to the Prehab Performance Method YouTube. Today we got a great episode for you guys. We'll be looking at controlled articular rotations or CARs, kind of how to do them, when to do them, and what are they for. So first of all, it's called a controlled articular rotation, usually shortened into just CARs. A principle really made popular and kind of founded by the Functional Range Conditioning Group, which is a system that I went to a seminar for, been taught a lot about it. That's what a lot of my practice is as far as my mobility work goes. But essentially what you're trying to do is you're trying to take the joint that you're focusing on, so say we're focusing on the shoulder, through as large a circular rotational pattern as possible, trying to hit all of the ranges of motion in that joint. So why is this good? Many of us don't go through those full ranges of motion on a daily basis. If you guys want to maintain healthy joints, maintain good range of motion and function overall, we need to use those ranges of motion, your entire range of motion actively each day so that your joints can stay lubricated and that you can just keep that full motion. It lets your brain know that you're using that full motion, so it's more likely to understand the importance of it and keep it, rather than if we just stretch one day and you never use it again for a week, your brain's not associating that with motion that you use typically. So we want to use it every day. Like I said before, it's going to hit every motion. We'll go over that in a second with the shoulder joint. The other aspect is it focuses a lot on rotation. And rotation works a lot on the capsule of the joint itself, which is the first layer of tissue after the bone. So it's like the bone, capsule. So if the capsule is not moving well, the capsule is not mobile, not fluid, then no matter how much you stretch the muscles, anything else like that, it's really not going to get that optimal improvement because that capsule is still going to be tight. Obviously, when you're stretching everything, but the rotational aspect usually works a little bit more on the capsule, which is why when assessing, we always look at, say, the shoulder, internal and external rotation first, because if you don't have those, then that's what we'll be targeting first. We'll be going after the capsule. So when should you do these CARs? Ideally, they promote a morning routine, which is going through CARs of every joint of the body all the way down in the morning, just so it's routine, so you get it out of the way early. And this is just to help you go through all the ranges of motion every day so that you can kind of keep all the joints fluid and moving well. Obviously, you have a job or something where you go through all the motions of your joints, full ranges every day, you don't need to worry about it. For the majority of us, we don't have that. Even if you have an active job as a physical therapist or something, you're usually still not going through the full ranges of motion, say like shoulder flexion or extension, things like that. So that's why it's important to do every day. You can also do it as a warm-up, just to warm up the joints before, and you can do it as a workout, and we'll show you kind of how to ramp those up, different ways to make it, medium or easy for like a morning routine, or just like a medium range for a warm-up, or even a really difficult range, so that you're doing it as an actual workout. It will be very fatiguing if you're doing it correctly. Okay, so for the CARs, we're going to focus on the shoulder for today, but if we do it in every single joint of the body, and I have a YouTube video labeled the morning routine, just put that in the search on my page and you'll find going through all the joints of the body as well. The first thing we want to do is we only want movement occurring at the shoulder. So for that purpose, we're going to start by kind of digging our feet into the ground, squeezing our quads and our glutes. So you're really ramping up tension here, core tension, create tension in this arm, and that's all before we even start moving. That's going to help prevent compensations throughout the movement, and it's really going to help isolate that movement at the shoulder. So I'm going to go through the motion of the shoulder real quick, and then we'll kind of go through on how to ramp up and ramp down. So really squeeze here. We're going to start by rotating out. So externally and across the body. This is going to work on shoulder external rotation and shoulder horizontal abduction across the body. Really work on that posterior cuff. Coming around here. Coming up. Once we get to the shoulder joint, once you get to a block where you can't go any farther, that's when you'll start to rotate. So we want to make sure you're rotating not just the forearm, but the entire arm. So we'll rotate, still not trying to rotate our body. Coming back, keep rotating as we go back. And we should end with our pinky forward. And the same thing, we're going to shoot straight back into shoulder extension. Once we hit that block there, then start rotating through as far range of motion as we can. Once we get to the ear, once again, we'll start externally rotating now across the body as far as we can, and then back down. Once again, the goal is to prevent any compensations, to isolate the movement as much as you can at the joint. Not saying in life, like say we're doing a shoulder press, we're not going to get movements in our thoracic spine and other areas, but for this purpose, we're trying to move at a specific joint. We're focusing on a specific joint. We do all the other joints later as well, but for today's demonstration, we're just looking at the shoulder. So to make it more difficult or easier, we have irradiation, which is basically saying as we squeeze and recruit other muscles, it's going to create that tension, create that difficulty through co-contraction. So if I'm bringing my arm up this way, but I'm squeezing, the muscles behind are actively kind of preventing me from going up as well. Think of it like a handshake. If I'm going to shake someone's hand, just using my hand, can't squeeze very hard. If you tell me to give you a hard handshake as you can, I'm going to use my shoulder muscles, my biceps, everything's going to squeeze, and that's how you get that increased strength. Same thing here. So for just medium, say, or light, let's say 30% is what the morning routine usually recommends. You'll go through that motion, just pretending that you're moving against 30% air that is a little bit more dense. So about 30% more density. But pretty easy, right? As you ramp up to maybe a warm-up, maybe go up to about 50 or 60. Really squeezing. You can use a tennis ball to kind of help create that tension. Just like that. I'll do a full demonstration of like an 80-90%, what you would do for a workout. So you're going to start squeezing. You're really going to squeeze. So even before you go, and it's just going to be a slow movement, really co-contracting everywhere you go. So this should be difficult. You should be really trying to fight all the different ranges. And you go back the other way. Once you've kind of mastered these different ranges and everything, you can add wrist weights, different weights or resistance to add a load to it. What we're trying to build is that tissue capacity. The other thing is if you're getting pain. So if you're coming up and you're getting pain in the front of the shoulder or anywhere, we don't want that for these. We want them to be pain-free. So say you get pain only when you come up here at that max shoulder flexion. What I want you to do is as you come up, kind of just avoid that painful range. Still go to your max pain-free range of motion. So go to the outer limits of that pain-free motion. But yeah, guys, that's basically it. That's kind of how we do them, how you ramp up or ramp down to increase or decrease intensity, when you should do them, kind of why they're good for you. I recommend them for everyone. All it's going to do is kind of help move your body in ways that you're probably not used to, which is going to be excellent for you. Like I said, if you type in morning routine on my page, you'll see going through every joint of the body. That's all. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments. Make sure you guys subscribe so you keep up with our videos, and we'll see you next time.